Welcome to Framework, the podcast that makes the NIST cybersecurity framework practical, engaging, and accessible. Whether you're a cybersecurity professional, business leader, or simply curious about how organizations defend against cyber threats, this series is for you. This podcast is inspired by a comprehensive guide to the NIST Cybersecurity Framework 2.0, a best-selling resource written by cybersecurity expert Dr. Jason Edwards and trusted by professionals worldwide. In each episode, we'll leverage a few insights from Jason's extensive book to dive deep into CSF 2.0, unpacking every function, category, and subcategory with real-world applications you can immediately use. If you're enjoying this episode and want to learn more, head over to cyberauthor.me to grab your copy of the book and access additional resources to enhance your cybersecurity journey. You can also visit baremetalcyber.com, where over 2 million people last year explored expert insights, articles, and practical tools across a wide range of cybersecurity topics. RC.RP-02, Prioritizing Recovery Actions. RC.RP-02 ensures that organizations establish structured prioritization frameworks to guide recovery efforts following a cybersecurity incident, restoring the most critical systems and business functions first to minimize disruption and financial losses. This subcategory belongs to the Recover function within the National Institute of Standards and Technology Cybersecurity Framework, version 2.0, emphasizing that effective prioritization accelerates operational restoration, reduces downtime, and strengthens resilience against future incidents. Without structured recovery prioritization, organizations risk wasting resources on non-essential systems, while mission-critical operations remain offline, leading to severe financial and reputational consequences. By implementing structured recovery prioritization strategies, organizations ensure that incident response teams focus on restoring high-impact systems first, aligning recovery actions with business continuity objectives and regulatory obligations. A well-defined prioritization framework includes impact assessments, predefined restoration hierarchies, and continuous validation mechanisms to ensure that critical assets are restored before secondary or non-essential systems. Organizations that adopt AI-driven recovery sequencing, integrate real-time operational impact assessments, and enforce structured recovery governance policies improve their ability to maintain business continuity, reduce restoration time, and minimize financial and operational risks. Multiple stakeholders play a role in prioritizing recovery actions. Business continuity managers and executive leadership are responsible for defining recovery priorities, ensuring alignment with operational resilience objectives, and allocating resources to high-impact restoration efforts. Cybersecurity and IT infrastructure teams ensure that critical systems are restored first, network dependencies are addressed efficiently, and security validation processes are integrated into the recovery workflow. Regulatory compliance officers and risk management teams play a critical role in ensuring that recovery prioritization strategies meet industry standards, contractual obligations, and legal requirements. Effective recovery prioritization is implemented through structured impact assessment models, automated risk-based restoration sequencing, and predefined escalation protocols. This includes using AI-powered analytics to assess the impact of system outages, integrating automated asset classification tools to rank recovery priorities, and enforcing structured governance frameworks to ensure that high-value assets are restored first. Organizations that fail to implement structured recovery prioritization processes risk misallocating resources, prolonging recovery timelines, and failing to meet regulatory obligations due to ineffective restoration sequencing. Several key terms define recovery prioritization and its role in cybersecurity governance. Impact-based recovery ensures that organizations assess the financial, operational, and reputational consequences of outages when determining restoration order. Critical asset classification ensures that organizations identify and categorize high-value systems, data, and applications to prioritize their recovery efforts. Dependency mapping ensures that organizations understand how different systems interact, ensuring that restoration efforts follow a logical sequence. Automated recovery orchestration ensures that organizations use AI-driven tools to dynamically adjust restoration priorities based on real-time risk assessments. Regulatory compliance alignment ensures that organizations follow legal and contractual recovery requirements when prioritizing system restoration. Challenges in prioritizing recovery actions often lead to delayed restoration, misallocation of recovery resources, and failure to restore essential services within required timeframes. One common issue is failure to conduct pre-incident asset classification, where organizations struggle to determine which systems should be restored first due to a lack of predefined recovery priorities. Another issue is ignoring operational dependencies, where organizations attempt to restore individual systems without considering how they interact with other infrastructure components, leading to incomplete or ineffective recovery efforts. Some organizations mistakenly believe that all recovery actions should be handled simultaneously, without recognizing that staggered, impact-driven restoration sequencing is necessary to optimize business continuity and resource efficiency. When organizations implement structured recovery prioritization frameworks, they enhance cybersecurity resilience, reduce financial losses, and ensure that essential services resume as quickly as possible. A structured recovery prioritization model ensures that business continuity teams define restoration priorities, IT security teams execute structured recovery workflows, and compliance teams oversee alignment with regulatory requirements. Organizations that adopt AI-driven impact assessment models, enforce structured risk-based recovery sequencing, and integrate real-time dependency mapping into recovery planning develop a comprehensive cybersecurity strategy that strengthens their ability to recover efficiently from cyber incidents. Organizations that fail to establish structured recovery prioritization strategies face significant operational, financial, and reputational risks. Without predefined recovery priorities, businesses risk wasting critical time restoring non-essential systems while core business functions remain inoperable. A common issue is lack of alignment between recovery actions and business impact, where organizations focus on restoring isolated systems without considering dependencies, leading to bottlenecks in service restoration. Another major challenge is failure to integrate risk assessments into recovery decisions, where organizations lack data-driven insights into which assets are most critical to business continuity, resulting in inefficient resource allocation. By implementing structured recovery prioritization strategies, organizations ensure that high-value systems are restored first, enabling critical business functions to resume operations with minimal disruption. A well-defined recovery prioritization framework integrates business impact analysis, predefined asset classification, and automated sequencing tools to ensure that essential systems are addressed immediately. Organizations that deploy AI-driven impact modeling, integrate automated dependency mapping, and enforce structured resource allocation frameworks improve their ability to recover efficiently, mitigate financial losses, and maintain regulatory compliance. At the partial tier, organizations lack formal recovery prioritization policies, leading to ad hoc restoration efforts that are inconsistent and inefficient. Recovery decisions may be made reactively, with IT teams restoring systems without considering business impact, often leading to unnecessary downtime for critical operations. A small business at this level may recover file servers before restoring payment processing systems, delaying revenue-generating activities and causing financial strain. At the risk-informed tier, organizations begin to establish structured recovery prioritization policies, ensuring that IT teams follow predefined guidelines for determining which systems should be restored first. However, these efforts may still be partially manual, requiring human oversight without automated prioritization mechanisms. A mid-size healthcare provider at this level may prioritize restoring patient records systems after a cyber incident but lack automated dependency mapping, leading to operational inefficiencies. At the repeatable tier, organizations implement a fully structured recovery prioritization framework, ensuring that asset restoration is standardized, risk-based, and aligned with business continuity objectives. Cybersecurity governance is formalized, with leadership actively involved in defining recovery priority levels, overseeing restoration sequencing, and ensuring compliance with industry regulations. A multinational financial institution at this stage may use AI-driven business impact analysis to dynamically adjust recovery sequencing based on real-time operational risk assessments. At the adapted tier, organizations employ machine learning-driven recovery automation, predictive operational risk modeling, and dynamic impact-based prioritization strategies to proactively refine and enhance recovery prioritization efforts. Prioritization processes are fully integrated into enterprise security operations, ensuring that security teams use AI-powered analytics to continuously assess recovery needs and optimize restoration sequencing. A global cloud services provider at this level may use real-time operational performance monitoring to adjust recovery sequencing dynamically, ensuring that critical customer services remain operational during incident response efforts. Prioritizing recovery actions aligns with multiple controls in the National Institute of Standards and Technology Special Publication 800-53, ensuring that organizations implement structured methodologies for recovery sequencing, business impact-driven prioritization, and operational risk mitigation. One key control is CP-10 System Recovery and Reconstitution, which requires organizations to establish structured, priority-based system restoration procedures to ensure that high-impact business functions are recovered first. A national healthcare provider implementing this control may use tiered recovery levels to ensure that life-critical medical systems are restored before administrative databases. Another key control is PM-11 Mission and Business Process Definition, which mandates that organizations align recovery priorities with business continuity objectives and operational risk management strategies. A multinational logistics company implementing this control may map critical supply chain applications to predefined recovery priorities, ensuring that essential transportation networks remain operational after a cyber incident. Prioritizing recovery actions also aligns with RA-3 Risk Assessment, which requires organizations to evaluate the potential impact of cybersecurity incidents and ensure that recovery priorities are aligned with identified business risks. This control ensures that organizations apply structured risk evaluation models to recovery sequencing, preventing the misallocation of resources to non-critical systems. A global financial services provider implementing this control may use real-time impact assessments to prioritize the recovery of transaction processing systems before restoring internal administrative databases. These controls can be adapted based on organizational size, industry, and cybersecurity maturity. A small business may implement basic recovery prioritization strategies, ensuring that IT teams manually identify and restore critical systems first, based on informal knowledge of business impact. A large enterprise may deploy AI-driven risk modeling, automated dependency analysis, and continuous operational impact monitoring to ensure that recovery prioritization remains continuously optimized and aligned with evolving cyber threats. Organizations in highly regulated industries such as healthcare, finance, and critical infrastructure may require legally mandated recovery prioritization frameworks, compliance-driven business impact analysis, and structured regulatory reporting to demonstrate adherence to cybersecurity recovery requirements. Auditors assess an organization's ability to prioritize recovery actions effectively by reviewing whether documented, consistently enforced, and automated recovery prioritization frameworks are in place. They evaluate whether organizations implement predefined recovery sequencing models, enforce structured risk-based prioritization policies, and integrate real-time operational impact monitoring mechanisms into enterprise-wide cybersecurity governance. If an organization fails to prioritize recovery actions effectively, auditors may issue findings highlighting gaps in cybersecurity risk management, weak recovery prioritization execution, and failure to align restoration sequencing with business continuity objectives. To verify compliance, auditors seek specific types of evidence. Recovery prioritization policy documentation and structured cybersecurity restoration logs demonstrate that organizations formally define and enforce cybersecurity recovery sequencing standards. Automated recovery prioritization system records and compliance-driven business impact assessment reports provide insights into whether organizations proactively evaluate, sequence, and execute system restoration based on predefined cybersecurity risk thresholds. AI-driven cybersecurity recovery prioritization dashboards and predictive operational impact analysis tools show whether organizations effectively track, monitor, and refine cybersecurity recovery sequencing strategies using real-world attack data and adaptive security controls. A compliance success scenario could involve a global technology company that undergoes an audit and provides evidence that structured cybersecurity recovery prioritization strategies are fully integrated into enterprise security governance, ensuring that all cybersecurity incidents are continuously monitored, classified, and restored based on predefined impact-based recovery models. Auditors confirm that cybersecurity recovery prioritization policies are systematically enforced, restoration sequencing mechanisms are dynamically refined, and enterprise-wide cybersecurity governance frameworks align with structured cybersecurity risk-based prioritization models. In contrast, an organization that fails to implement structured cybersecurity recovery prioritization frameworks, neglects real-time operational risk analysis, or lacks formalized cybersecurity restoration sequencing workflows, may receive audit findings for poor cybersecurity risk management, weak recovery prioritization execution, and failure to align restoration sequencing strategies with regulatory compliance mandates. Organizations face multiple barriers in ensuring that cybersecurity recovery prioritization remains continuous and effective. One major challenge is failure to integrate real-time operational impact analysis into recovery sequencing, where organizations prioritize system restoration without assessing how outages affect core business functions. Another challenge is over-reliance on static recovery priority lists, where organizations fail to adjust restoration sequences based on evolving cybersecurity risks and business needs. A final challenge is difficulty maintaining cybersecurity prioritization consistency across global operations, where organizations struggle to apply standardized restoration sequencing policies across multiple subsidiaries, regions, and regulatory jurisdictions. Organizations can overcome these barriers by developing structured cybersecurity recovery prioritization frameworks, ensuring that cybersecurity restoration sequencing policies remain continuously optimized, and integrating real-time operational risk analysis models into enterprise-wide cybersecurity governance strategies. Investing in AI-driven cybersecurity recovery prioritization, automation, automated compliance-driven impact assessment, and predictive cybersecurity operational risk modeling ensures that organizations dynamically assess, monitor, and refine cybersecurity recovery sequencing strategies in real time. Standardizing cybersecurity recovery prioritization methodologies across department subsidiaries and external business partners ensures that cybersecurity restoration sequencing policies are consistently applied, reducing exposure to prolonged operational disruptions while strengthening enterprise-wide cybersecurity resilience. By embedding cybersecurity recovery prioritization strategies into enterprise security governance frameworks, organizations enhance cybersecurity restoration sequencing capabilities, improve regulatory compliance, and ensure sustainable cybersecurity recovery processes across evolving cyber risk landscapes. That wraps up today's discussion on framework. Don't stop here. Head over to cyberauthor.me to explore more cybersecurity topics and discover a best-selling book covering NIST and other critical cyber frameworks. Please like, rate, and review this episode on Apple and Spotify. Until next time, remember that knowledge is power.